Hey, so for hashtag Septandy, even though I'm recording this in August, we're bringing out my 1985 Tandy 1000A. This was the second version of the Tandy 1000 release, and it shares similar specs with the original 1000 released in '84 and the 1000 HD, which was the hard drive version released in the same year as the 1000A. This machine is pretty much bone stock right now. We do have a little upgrade over there I just got in. I actually have two coming in, but the 8087 that I ordered I'm still waiting for that to ship. The guy hasn't shipped it yet, and I looked in his feedback profile and it seems to take him a little bit. So maybe he's got some stuff in his life that needs done. Anyway, talking about my machine, I bought this Tandy used at Value Village for $10 in 2007. I'm sure some of you are going to probably get mad about that now because you're like, God damn, I can't find one for less than $200 now. I'm like, yeah, this was 2007 before these machines were really, before young Sheldon. Anyway, this machine, pretty much all bone stock. It does have an XT IDE revision 1.1 card in it, which if you watched my Septandy videos from last year, I put new firmware on the hard drive controller, which I found a little flaw with that. I'll talk about that later. There's also Realtek 8019 Ethernet card in it, and the 640K memory upgrade card, the original Tandy one, not the new low-tech fancy one that allows you to have more upper memory blocks. You can't tell, and of course, before I get in there, peripherals, we got the 1988 NEC Multisync 2 monitor. You'll see this on the second Throwback Thursday from the Creeping Network channel. Moving that stuff over here, just moving to one channel, just makes it easier for me to manage. Just one guy, just one channel, so much easier. And yeah, I have a flashlight on right now because just makes the video quality just that much better. Yeah, and the same monitor, I bodge wired the connector on because the circuit board cracked in it like it always does in these NEC Multisync 2s. It works great. Actually, it works better than when I first got it because the capacitors have reformed themselves, so it's a nice, healthy, happy monitor. There we go. Keyboard I got from eBay shortly after I got the Tandy. I paid maybe about $10 for this because they were still cheap back then, so overall only $20 invested in this machine. Not counting the $7 2-button deluxe mouse that we have over here, which I use for playing Arkanoid, drawing with turbo paint and all that. Those of you who saw me on VC Fed probably still remember I was working on a light pen for this machine. Anyway, let's pan off and run some initial benchmarks on this as an 8088. I've actually already recorded those already, so we'll probably jump over to the next part of the upgrade. And so here are the tools for our first upgrade. I'll probably be shooting all the different parts of this video all out of order and all XPL wacky. So I do it right over here. What we have is I know it's a bit of overkill for this one, but it's an 8 megahertz NEC V20 CPU. These are supposedly 10 to 20% faster than the stock Intel 8088 at the same clock speed. The reason I'm putting that in this Tandy 1000 is to give it a little more oomph, especially for internet and gaming, because that's mainly what I use this for. And we're probably going to do some videos on the internet on this at some point too. Maybe not this week or whenever when I'm shooting this, but at some point. Anyway, we got my NEC V30 or V20 CPU, and then we have, of course, this janky chip puller I got with my like A+ certification toolkit thing like a million years ago, and of course Phillips head screwdriver. So let's remove the monitor from this thing and let's install the 8087, or not 8087, let's install the V20 because I don't have the 8087 yet. One of the things I've always kind of loved about the Tandy 1000 is that it's actually a much easier machine to work on than some of my other vintage machines. It's because you can remove the front cover by just removing these two screws in the front, and it just slides forward. And this pretty much goes for all these old 8088 XT style 1000s. You can even do the screws one-handed. I mean, you don't have to torque them in there. It's not like it's doing 60 miles an hour down a highway or something. That one's a little more torqued. Not so much. It's coming. There we go. And yeah, I use my little AB screwdriver, and I've been in this thing like a million times. I've had it, 15 plus years. So this is one of my longer owned machines. Personally, I like the Tandy 1000 series for an 8088 because they offer all the benefits of an IBM PC or an IBM PC XT, but with all the benefits of an IBM PC Junior. So you can have your cake and eat it too if you go Tandy. That's probably one reason these things go for so much. Anyway, right here we have this big honking speaker in front that can get pretty loud. There is a mod I'm going to kind of show you I already did. As you can see, big speaker. There's my floppy drives. Right down here, if you look through there, you look through the top, you can see I have this cable here snaking from the XT IDE card. That's my hard drive LED, where it is now. Used to be I had a 5 1/4 mobile rack in this top rack, and that's where the hard drive was. But I took that out and put the original floppy back in, because I just kind of want it to be more stealthy again, and because I needed the guts from the mobile rack in this to fix the one in my 486. Looking back here, we have a 100 meg Seagate 2.5-inch ATA hard drive with its own little separator, and it's on a 2.5-inch adapter with the IDE cable snaking over to the XT IDE revision 1.1 card. You got this finger chopper 120 volt fan in here. And now let's look at the first thing we're going to upgrade. Right here is our chip. This is a 4.77 megahertz Intel 8088. This one was apparently, says 2590199. It's 78 and 83 copyright date. It's a later chip. Right over here is the 8087 socket that we're going to occupy later. And I believe this right here is the jumper that we have to pull on the motherboard when the 8087 goes in. Now to get this chip out, I'm going to use a chip puller here, this janky cheap one, and that I've had for like a million years and only maybe used on 3 chips. What you do is you have to get these little tangs at the ends, on the ends of the chip, and then you pull up. This is to keep you from bending the pins, because I do want to keep the original 8088 intact for this computer, especially since these are unobtainium. And as you can see, just gotta carefully rock it back and forth. And it's coming. It's gonna come. It's just slow. We might do this off camera just because it'll be easier for me. So now we have the 2 chips out side by side. Here's the 8088 and here's the V30 or V20 CPU. See, same pinout, same stuff. Yeah, so this is going to go in there and run at the same clock speed. The direction in which it's going to go, and I'm cleaning this socket out. Holy my god. So the way the chip is supposed to go in there is with this notched end going that way. So we're going to go ahead and put our V20 in there. And you want to be careful, make sure not to bend any of the pins. Way I usually do these is I tilt them off to the side and I stick them in there. So we're probably going to do this off camera. And actually, one of the things to check beforehand is to see how fanned out the pins are on this chip. So I usually want to roll it a little bit this way to get the pins just a little more straight down. That way then they want to go into the socket a little more easily, because this is a new old stock part. Never been used, never been in a computer before. So we're going to prep it up, and then we'll press fit it into the Tandy, and then we'll boot the Tandy up and see what the performance gains are, see where it stands. Here we go. And I'm going to do some of this off camera. There we go. We got that NEC V20 CPU into the Tandy. One of the little tricks I use is I try to hook all the pins on one side into the socket, and then I just kind of carefully push with my finger and work them in, and you'll start to feel them push down into the socket. And then you just press it down in there, and we'll go ahead and button her up and power her on, run some benchmarks, and hopefully no magic smoke comes out. Alright, now for the moment of truth. There you can see my little hard drive LED pop up. Okay, that's very good. We got 640K memory. I'm going to be shooting a second run of this, but this is just like the smoke test, just to see how it runs. See, that was already kind of an improvement. It's already going pretty quick. Let's see how fast it does on networking, because this should tell us everything for running on here. So we'll back up. So already I can see it's got an improvement in speed quite a bit already, which is kind of impressive considering it's a... you can see my hard drive's reading in there with the little red LED. There we go. We've got it, and I think also, so now we're going to go ahead and run some tests on video and run some benchmarks real quick. Alright, here we are. We're on Tandy 1000 TV mode, the NEC V20, no 8087 because I'm still waiting for that guy to ship the darn thing. It says it'll be in by the 18th. Anyway, we're going to go under benchmarking, real-time benchmarking, and then we're going to save our benchmark and compare it to the original benchmark that we originally made with the 8088 and no 8087. And as we take a look at this, my score is now 5. It's gone up. I'm actually faster than my Tandy 1000EX that I used to have, which is crazy considering the 1000EX is a 6 megahertz 8088. My system is... the system PC4 is 2478. The Tandy's beating it with a 2640. Memory on mine's at 2013. NECR is at 1860. My opcodes are faster. Everything's faster in this NCR. That's a closer match with a total picosec of 9341 versus the 9018 of the NCR. Running at the same speed. Yeah, my voice is a little screwy. So we're gonna save. We're gonna save mine into the benchmark operations and add this system. So now it's doing the microsecond timings and the CPU speed and the footprint and all that fun stuff. And here we go, Tandy 1000A 20 8087. We got NEC V20, 4.77 megahertz. Description. Or we're just gonna do it. NEC V20. It's gonna be 640K RAM. TGA. Submitter creeping net. And here we go, video adapter, Tandy 1000 TGA, enhanced CGA. They're compatible. Yeah, I like making mine really detailed. So there we go. And we'll add to the database. Now mine's added. Now benchmarking, we're going to do compare systems. So let's see here. We've got a few different machines here. We're going to do, it's going to go down here and see if I can find the Tandy 1000 system. Oh, nope. Here we go. Tandy 1000. Tandy 1000 SX, TL, TX, 1000A. So here's our original benchmark. And now let's go down and compare it to today's benchmark, which is the one right beneath it. Let's compare it to today's benchmark. So as you can see, my score's gone up 1 point on this machine. Memory is quite a bit faster. So is the memory EA. Well, it's about close. Dropped down to a 2013 from a 2054. But the memory speed has gone up quite a bit. So 1.45 times faster. A lot of these points are really adding up to a pretty nice little score. 9336, so yeah, that's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and run some heavy games on this thing and see if they even run. As you can see already, the V20 has made a marked improvement in the performance of this Tandy. I mean, it's already like running. It feels more like I'm playing SimCity on my 286 now, which is kind of impressive considering this is an 8088 running at, well, now V20 running at 4.77 megahertz. I mean, shoot, if you look at some of the clips, we're going to do a side-by-side comparison later in this video. Oh yeah, I just wanted to show you my video rig. So I'm running the Tandy right now in TV mode, which is done by pressing F4 at boot up when it says 640 kbok, and then it's running out to this HT vid box, which runs over into my laptop here, which is running OBS Studio, and that's how I record this thing. So there, if you want to know the magic of how I'm making all this direct off the Tandy video footage happening, and you'll see this in December too with my other systems. I'm just basically using HT vidbox, and for the VGA computers, I'm using a VGA to composite converter. Anyway, we'll check back once the 8087 is in and installed, and then we can, you know, go over the performance improvements this year on the Tandy. Just letting you know, some of the Let's Plays and stuff that you're going to see this month, a lot of those were done before this upgrade, so the machine is probably going to look like it's running a little slower on some of those. I also had to figure out I had to find my splitter to join the two audio channels together on the HT vidbox. So when you see me play, one of the upcoming ones is Leisure Suit Larry. I'm probably going to be, you're just going to hear sound from one side. Maybe I'll remaster it later, but, you know, it just kind of goes to show you. So next up, we'll do some 8087 stuff. Here we can see I have an 8087 designed to run at the stock 4.77 megahertz. This is 1980. I pulled up a service manual on the Tandy 1000 series. Here it is, 1000A. If we scroll down here, this BIOS ROM 1100. I think I have a newer one than that. If we look down here, E8 and E9 indicates there's no coprocessor installed. Well, E8, E9, as we can see, if it'll focus on it, is right there. So what we're going to do is put this chip into that socket right next to the V20 we added, and then we're going to be able to use the floating point unit on this Tandy, which should speed up certain things. I wanted to talk a little bit about the floating point units. So on computers in general, although this is Septandy, the original Intel 8088 through the up until the 486, you had a separate math coprocessor that did floating point math. It was an option, so most computers that were 8088s, 286s, 386s didn't always have this math coprocessor. Actually, usually they didn't because it came at a premium. Most people who did have these weren't gamers. They were mainly people who were using math CAD programs. They were designing airplane wings and creating circuit boards or doing complex calculations. But some games, like SimCity and some others, actually do use this. So that's why I chose to put an 8087 in here. That, and every 486 machine I have is a DX. My 386 has the 387. My 286 has its 287. This gets its 8087. So, as usual, to show you what I was talking about earlier, I usually roll the chips a bit like this, just to get them more in line. As you can see, because the pins kind of fan out, especially if the chip's never been used. And as you can see now, they're kind of straight up and down. Now this, you want to look, when you're installing chips like this, excuse me, my voice is still a little screwy. You want to look for, and let's turn some light on the subject here, because I had that in my previous video. If you look right about here, you see that notch in the silk screening? You can also see there's a notch right there in the chip socket. That indicates which way this 8087 is supposed to go. And like I mentioned about installing these, I always tilt them to the side like this, and I try to make sure that all the pins are lined up on one side. And I'm going to try to do this one one-handed. And right now, how I fit this in here is going to be very tricky because, as you can see, my network adapter card is getting in the way. So you have to pull the network card to actually get at it. Luckily, I've the perfect tools for doing this one-handed. Yeah, this is a little more edited than my previous video was on the Tandy. So, yeah, come on, get in there. Oh yeah, I have that sticker on there. Hold on. One of the more annoying things about some of these older computers is not all of them used Phillips head screws, but I'll show you a little trick with the Tandy 1000s. This has flat head screws, so you just turn it up just a little way. You don't have to take it all the way out. And then you can lean your card to the side and lift it out. So you guys will actually get to look at my network card, actually. So here's how you lift it out. And this is probably a good spot where I can talk about hardware a little bit too. So as you can see, I'm going to just keep turning it, and I usually prefer to avoid removing the screws if possible. So there we go. You got it out. So right here, as you can see, this is my network adapter. It's a Realtek RTL 8019AS. And as you can see, it's a 16-bit card, but I'm using it in an 8-bit slot. It works in an 8-bit slot because these extra connectors mainly have to do with the extra IRQs and memory addresses available on an IBM AT style 286 or better machine. So anyway, getting back on the subject at hand, so now we can try and align this up with the socket. So right here, I try to usually get all the pins on one side. As you can see here, they're starting to line up with the holes like they're supposed to. So we're going to line them up. You can kind of feel, just take your time, because that's how I do this. And then Well, I usually do it from the other side anyway, so we're trying to do this. I'm trying to show you the easy way to install chip here, or at least my way, my method of doing it. So we're going to kind of put it in there. Now we have all the pins on the one side, and you see I press down on that one side, but I press on the other side and slowly work each pin forwards so that it fits into the socket. And this was a little easier with that other chip, but here we go. Now you can see I just kind of pushed them over, and there we go. We have our Intel 8087. It's pressed in spot. We want to inspect, make sure all the pins are lined up and in their holes. I always visually inspect things before I go, so everything's in its holes and everything's lined up. And then you see, remember what we said on that document there? E8, E9. We're going to pull that jumper out. Then we're going to reassemble the Tandy. Do some more benchmarks, mess around with a few more games for a little bit. And this is always what I do with these jumpers when they're in here, so I can A, keep track of them, and B, so I don't lose them. So there we go. We now have a NEC V20 and a Intel 8087. So this is pretty much a fully maxed out Tandy 1000A. Let's stop and fire her up. Alright, so now we're going to compare systems. In particular, we're going to compare this Tandy 1000 to its two previous benchmarks. It rates pretty close this go around to what it previously was, but I'm actually kind of surprised it actually has a performance improvement due to the Intel 8088. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go down to the original benchmark through this list of computers. We're down IBM, I need to be down to T. So here's where mine begin. Here's my original benchmark with a score of 4. And then we're going to go ahead and go down here. And some people might question why I'm doing this. I'm just sort of doing this because it just is interesting to see how much of a boost we get. All three of these are for a 640K Tandy 1000 with DMA. So when we compare it, this is the current one. So I'm about 1.25 times faster now than it was before. See, the previous score for it when it was stock was 4 with 3826 for memory, 2054. You can see the numbers. It was just an 8088. Now let's go back up here and compare it with the V20 with no 8087. Now we have a score of 5. Mem test is just slightly slower, and then so is the memory. Everything's just a little, different. Well, it was a little bit faster actually without the 8087. So we're going to kind of look here. 2785. So it was a little bit faster, at least it says in here, but it seems to me that despite the score drop, the 8087 seems to be giving it just a little bit, seems to be making it actually faster in real time. That's kind of why I wanted to video this, because
I don't know, but to me it seems like it feels a lot faster with the 8087, and I don't think it's a placebo effect, because I'm going to play some of the videos side by side of these games and stuff, because I was noticing I'm getting a bit of a boost out of them. Now, a lot of people dispute, oh yeah, well, these old DOS games don't really use the 8087. Well, I think some of them have the ability to use it, it just doesn't require it. There's a big difference between requiring a floating point unit and actually having a floating point unit. Or actually just having a floating point unit but not requiring it. Because if it requires it, it's not going to run. If it doesn't require it, it's going to just suffer a performance penalty because now the regular processor chip is having to do all that work. Hopefully it kind of explains that in layman's terms. I know I'm kind of a layman's terms kind of guy, but I just don't have the time to coordinate a big fancy video with all the science and everything. Since this is just something I do for fun, something I do for a hobby, something I do, just it's fun seeing what the results are. So I did lose a little bit in adding the 8087, but let's see what it looks like in real world performance a little bit.
Now we've got the Tandy booted up. We're in MSD. We're going to look at the stuff where we run some benchmarks here. As you can see, it's Tandy with a Phoenix BIOS, BIOS ROM 1100. So that was the latest BIOS. I guess I was wrong. V20 processor, and as you can see, the 8087 coprocessor is actually enabled. So yeah, we got this. Let's go do some. Let's go hook up the video rig and do some benchmarks. I'm also noticing my mouse is, for some reason, a bit more responsive. Actually, I don't even think I really talked about this. So the mouse I have actually here is the Tandy Deluxe mouse, a 2-button mouse, and it connects to the joystick port right over there. So it actually is a joystick. This has finite movement in each direction. This was actually designed originally for the Tandy TRS-80 line, which, like a lot of stuff for the 1000 was. But yeah, it's a 2-button mouse that works on the joystick port. And you've seen me using it quite a bit. As you can see, it's got a big, heavy metal ball in there. This mouse weighs about as much as some modern laptops do. Anyway, let's go hook up the video rig and let's do some benchmarking.
Alright, so we're going to play some really heavy games here. Right now I got The Secret of Monkey Island queued up. I'm actually record all this out of order. Yeah, so actually a fun little bit about The Secret of Monkey Island and my history. This was the game that got me to love computer games. I mean, this was it. And what's really, really funny, and I've never told this story before, is my two older sisters, another relative, kind of not really a relative, bought them a house back in college, and one of them had the Tandy 1000SX, that was my first computer, and the other one had the 386, which was my older sister. My older sister bought The Secret of Monkey Island and put it on her 386. And I remember them saying, "Oh, Monkey Island will not run on the Tandy." Well, this is an older Tandy than that SX, and it's running it. And actually, it doesn't run half bad. Now, I will say the most annoying part of this is the mouse. Because this is a joystick mouse. If I move it off to one side, it starts veering around. If I move it off to the other side, it starts veering around. One thing I've noticed since I put the 8087 in there is that it has kind of steadied it. Let's go ahead and go back to control keyboard interface. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and use the keyboard to control this. We're going to go open here. And then we're going to go open the scum bar and go inside. This is the 16 color TGA version for Tandy. This is actually quite playable now. The only thing that really kind of wipes it out is the loading transitions. This was probably the 6 megahertz Tandy with the same CPU and clock doubled 8087. It probably would be, you know, a lot faster. Let's go ahead and just do a couple of the puzzles here. I'm going to go through some of these games. I'm also going to kind of showcase some of the sound that we get to hear here. So like, so you can see the animation's not that fast, but this is Tandy 1000 with CGA, what's basically enhanced CGA. So this is like the lowest of this lowest video you could possibly do for Monkey Island that isn't the 4-color CGA. Yeah, I'm a little snotty today. If you've wondered why I hadn't been talking in my videos for months, it's because I'd been kind of under the weather. So this is like the first time I've actually ever done that. We're going to try to get some that glorious Tandy 1000 audio going here. See, we're this way. No! This is the problem with playing this on an 8088 is you start to think, oh, it's not reacting, and then it is. So yeah, and you've probably seen me play this. I did a Let's Play of this in like 2009, completely from memory, no commentary. So this is kind of cool to see Monkey Island running on a computer that my sisters basically told me it would not run on when I was like 10. So yeah, gives you an idea how old I am. Let's go in here and see the cutscene with LeChuck and his buddy, assuming it even plays it. But yeah, this is about how that runs. There's a little frame skip still, but it's actually a lot better. The first time I ever ran this all on one of 8088 was actually in VGA because I put a VGA card in my Turbo XT. See how the cutscenes look here in EGA. I was finding the blue and Cerulean colors in the EGA look pretty good. Of course, you're getting the CGA artifacts with it. So there's a little bit of Monkey Island for you. Here's another good one for DOS, and now we have my actual mouse enabled. This is SimCity, and mind you, I'm not even running with the sped up CGA graphics routines, and this thing's actually running pretty quick. So one other thing I kind of noticed is after I put the 8087 in here, my deluxe mouse actually responds better. I'm not sure why. Like in Monkey Island, it was all screwed up and wonky, and in SimCity, it was acting bizarro too. So we're gonna start a new city, our easy mode. And this is with the deluxe mouse I showed you in the video, you know. Now terraforming. Terraforming seems to take a while regardless of whether you have the 8087 or not. I did hear that SimCity was one of the games though that did make use of the Intel 8087 chip. So yeah, that was actually not as bad as last time. So we'll put a nuclear power plant over here. For some reason in this version you can't put the power plant at the edge of the city. So we're just gonna do a few things here. I mean, drawing is every bit. It's a little less cantankerous. I actually prefer to use the keyboard sometimes on this version. Let's go open up another game, Load City. Let's load up my YouTube city. No. Because I just wanted to kind of see how long it took to create a new city and, you know, kind of show you around. So right now we're on that deluxe mouse. As you can see now, we're on here. Let's turn off disasters. Disable. Options. Speed. We're going to go with the fastest speed. And we're going to kind of see what this does here. How long it takes to move to the next month. It's now August. Our city's kind of growing. Not really. Well, it didn't take it too long to get there. Let's see how long it takes to get to September. Hashtag Septandy 1900. Back when Tandy was a leather goods company. Oh, we got a few more houses now. Oh, we already changed to September, October, November. So it's actually running through pretty quickly. So yeah, SimCity is actually a good one for the Tandy. I know the CGA artifacts, because I'm capturing this off of composite, don't do it any justice, but, you know, here. But, you know, that's another cool game you could probably run on 8088 Tandy, unlike SimCity, or, you know, Monkey Island's actually pretty playable, but SimCity, but Ultima 6 was kind of slow. Internet shortcut version, and see how fast it boots now since we've seen it. So as you can see, it already boots faster. I'm wondering if MTCP uses an 8087 if it's actually installed, because I've noticed my networking's a little faster. It feels faster to me for some reason, even though the benchmarks say otherwise, which just seems a little strange. I'm wondering if the benchmark is even really doing that. Anyway, if you're in TV mode and you want to run your Tandy 1000 in mode 80 to get it out of 40, because 40 columns, it's alright. You just do mode CO80 and it puts it in 80 columns mode. We're going to go to Ultima and then Ultima 6. This is probably the heaviest game you can play on a Tandy 1000. You know, Dave Just Jave Retro and I think a few other people have shown the intro with the Tandy music. I want to just show how it runs on an 8088. Another one of my fun little stories about my first computer, which was a Tandy 1000 SX. When I had it, I bought. It was the first computer I ever did any work on, and I bought a memory expansion, 640K, from Radio Shack in 1998. I got the computer used in 97. So, yeah, it was already a 10-year-old computer by then. Anyway, as you can see here, we're loading it up. It's actually not too bad now. It used to be a lot slower, and the screen would actually, you had to wait about like twice as long for it to draw. Anyway, the story goes, I paid $45 looking through Tandy's outdated catalogs and Radio Shack to get the 640K memory upgrade in 97, which was just laughable at that time because everybody else had like, you know, 16 megabytes, you know, or 64 megabytes was considered a lot of RAM back then. This was like 640K on a computer I could only run DOS. So, yeah, so I bought that so I could play this game on a Tandy 1000, and I'm going to show you why I don't really do a let's play of this on a Tandy 1000. I mean, the graphical effects actually I think look a lot cooler on the Tandy because they're slowed down. Right now we're in ELO's house, kind of between Empath Abbey and Trinsic, and we're just going to kind of wander around. This is about how fast this game goes on a 4.77 megahertz computer, given all the advantages you could possibly get. We got all those CGA artifacts on here too. Like I said, this is about roughly what it was like on my 1000 SX running Ultima 6. And this was another one of those games that my sisters would have probably said, oh, you can't run that on the Tandy. You can, it's just, why would you want to? The reason I do is I just want to show, what the bare minimum is for this stuff, because sometimes I feel in recent years they don't give you the minimum system requirements nearly as accurately, or at least for a time there, I think, actually, because nowadays they don't even list a processor speed. They're just like, needs SSE instructions and whatever else, and then, 4 gigabytes of RAM required, minimum. So you can kind of hear my finger batting at the keys. So yeah, this is what Ultima 6 runs like on a Tandy 1000. Oh, old man avatar. Let me walk through these trees over here. I gotta get to the bar, get me some prune juice. I got fast graphics on. Fast graph on. Let's see how Castlevania does. Let's see if that even uses an 8087. Castlevania is another really heavy one. Like, you're gonna have to listen to that speaker start doing its thing first. It does this. I don't know why. Whoever coded this, not the most optimized of code. So let's see it go. It takes a moment for the graphics to come up. Some echo on it. Yeah, I just turned up the input signal and put a little delay on here. So we're gonna wait and see how long it takes for the graphics to come up in Castlevania. Here it goes. So this is Castlevania with fast graph. Let's start a new game. Now we got the status bar up top. Are you sure that's not Trevor Belmont? Actually, it looks like it's dedicating extra CPU cycles to the music. Okay, any day now, CGA. Yeah, here we go. It hasn't even rendered the candles yet. It hasn't even passed control to anything either. Anyway, that's enough of this one. As you can see, this is completely unplayable. Now we're going to start talking a little bit about some of my favorite games to play on a Tandy 1000. This is Ultima 5, Warriors of Destiny. This is about the highest I would probably go on a 8088 system for any one of those games. You see it's running pretty darn good. We're on a clean boot right now. Oh yeah, and if you wondered why my BIOS state changed for my XGID IO. It was because I actually upgraded it because of this game. There's a conflict. So here we are, Warriors of Destiny, Ultima 5. More memories about Tandys. So I was one of those late bloomers who got chicken pox late, and I caught it right before a marching band contest, like 2 weeks before when they were practicing. So I was laid up in bed, still being forced to do homework, but I also was playing this. So let's go see how it plays on here. Of course, CGA artifacts, the whole 9 yards, and probably still not as nice as it would be on another one. On this, it's a little bit slower than it was on my 1000SX, but not by much. Of course, there's no music or audio. They didn't do Tandy 3 voice audio in the Ultima games, except for Ultima 6, which was mainly aimed more at like the TL and the SL models and the RSX and all that, you know. So, which were, you know, 286, 386 versions, the Tandy 1000, or faster 8086 versions. Anyway, we're going into Castle Britannia. It takes a few moments. I probably had the patience of an angel as a kid. So we're just going into Lord British's castle. I mean, this is probably the newest Ultima game I would probably run on an 8088. If you ever wondered, the story was basically that Lord British went on a expedition to seal the dungeons and got lost, and his trusted associate, Lord Blackthorn, took over the kingdom of Britannia and started enforcing the 8 virtues as laws, which doesn't quite go over very well, but I kind of got to applaud Richard Garriott actually kind of discussing the subject of legislating morality, something Frank Zappa used to talk about quite a bit, that you shouldn't, cannot, and I don't know, just something that's a really bad idea. So right now we're just trudging through Castle British with my heavily wounded party. We're gonna jimmy the lock on this door. Oh, I don't have any keys now. So yeah, this was, you know, Ultima 5. This was the first, I think this was the first one to have a day and night cycle, but I can't remember. Actually, I think it was the 4th that did. Let's see if we can get the rug. Look. So, it's kind of cool as you can sit down in the chairs in this one. Take a rest. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and play Street Fighting Man. We played this one last time. Start handy. Street Fighting Man. Alright, so anyway, we're going to go ahead here, do T, and then we're going to wait. So right now we're waiting for it to load. There it is, Street Fighting Man. You gotta go rescue his girlfriend. I haven't played this with the V20 yet. Let's go through Denver. Kind of cool. This is one of the few games where the arrow keys. Hey, we're entering Shark Turf. Alright. It's still a little slow. This would probably be something I'd more play on the 286. You don't even need to bother with the sharks. It's like the blonde girl gang. So this wouldn't be something I'd play on the 88, but we might actually do this one on the 286 or 386 for See, they don't even bother. Oh, you want to join my posse? Alright, fine. Oh, here comes someone to beat up. Are we sure the sharks are a gang? Or are they just a bunch of chicks that just follow this guy around? Oh, we're entering new turf. Oh, look, it's another tough guy from the bar. Nick is cool. I keep forgetting and calling him Ned. Come on, Mr. Leahy. You are not the liquor. Come on. Ah, you jerk. I am... Yeah, I swear these old dudes in this gang look like Mr. Leahy. Actually, this is quite playable on here, I must say. Oh, look. More, what? You got tired of the football game at the bar? Marty is gonna kill me? What? These guys don't look like Martys. They look like Bobs and Steves and Bills and, Honestly, they look kind of like, honestly, they look kind of like a football coach. I want to lay you down, boy. You would look like something that came out of my toilet bowl. Anyway. Yeah, and I love how the status just says, oh, Nick is a tough guy. It's like, oh, who do we have here? Oh, this is like the little skinny guy. That didn't take too much to take him down. This is my favorite kind of fighting game, one that's just got absolute comedy elements to it like this. Yeah, this is the fun part of the video where we just start playing this. Nick is one bad dude. It's just me, or does it seem the game is starting to perform faster the more I play it? And here goes my hard drive again, just clicking away, looking for... Oh, we got another one of these guys. Oh, there you are. What, you think you're tough? Huh? Wanna mess with me? Huh, son? What's up? What's up? You wanna what's up with me? Huh, here you go. Ah, wise guy, eh? There you go. And some screaming. Seems like a too nice of a neighborhood for gang problems. Hey, come on, this looks like the place where they have the PTA. Oh, now you're... Whoa. Tyrone? So we have a gang here with guys who are all named Tyrone. Bad position here. Gotta turn around. Did he just shoot at me? What the hell? Christ, how many of these guys did I knock out? Yeah, we gotta get out of here. Yeah, we gotta get out of there. All points bulletin. There's a big man in a freaking blue jean vest running around beating up people. His name is Nick. Honestly, the name Nick in this game makes me laugh. Nick is Marco. Makes me think of this. There was this guy, and I know this probably isn't a very PC channel to have mentioned, but it was a guy named Ned. I almost want to hack this and change it where his name is Ned, just because I think it would be funny to voice him that way. Hi, my name is Ned. I've come to kick your ass. Oh, more of the middle-aged church league softball fist fight mafia here. These guys are. Oh, a wise guy. See. What is this, the Angry Fathers Club? Look, dude, I wasn't with your daughter last night. You need to lay off the beer. Oh, there's the girlfriend. So, we're gonna go ahead and beat this one. Oh, you asshole.
Who knows if I shoot more footage than I have for September. Anyway, last thing before we go, I guess we'll run down the specs. So anyway, this is my 85 Tandy 1000A with a NEC V20 CPU at 4.77 megahertz with an 8087. Got the original Tandy 90 key keyboard right here, and a Tandy Deluxe mouse. Dual 5 1/4 floppies. Hiding in there is the new LED I added. So yeah, that is that concludes this profile for the Creeping Net Tandy 1000A. This is Creeping Net signing out. I'll see you in the next video.